Hello, everyone. Brady, Charlie, Garriott. We are here talking some wrestling. We're a little earlier than we normally go. Charlie got on the chat and was like, "Hey, man, I got tonight off. I'm hyped. I want to talk some wrestling." And we said, "You know what? I think, all right. Let's do it." And so we are all free. So here we are. Charlie, why were you so hyped about wrestling this week, man?
Hell of a week. Not too often we can say they throw curveballs left and right, but this week there was curveballs thrown left and right. Both
Bizarro world.
Everything. Yeah, it was wild. And, yeah, I mean, directly changed the landscape of WWE pretty much.
Yeah.
To sum it up, you know? I mean, it's that big.
I mean, and it's crazy, and we'll talk about this way more in depth, but I mean, we have a new WWE champion. We had the Universal Champion had to relinquish the title due to an unforeseen illness. We had maybe the top star in the company, male or female, in Becky Lynch, get knocked out from the pay-per-view. There's a lot of things getting shifted around right now, and honestly, it's kind of cool. Obviously, the Roman Reigns thing is something we didn't see coming, but yeah, it's nice to have new stuff, right?
It really is. And they're building stars at the same time. So this we'll kind of get into.
Yeah. All right, let's get right into it. So let's talk a little bit of news. So Garrett, the news came out through many sources that the USA Network, as many people know, usually Raw, SmackDown is always ended on time, but Raw generally goes anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes over time, and then it just kind of cuts in, and they kind of cut off commercials a little bit on the next show, whether it's Chris Lee or whatever the hell they put on after Raw these days. What do you think about? So it came out that USA, instead of allowing for that extra time, they want Raw to be kept within the 3-hour parameter, and they want it to be off on time, just like how SmackDown has been held to. Do you think that this is related to WWE starting to shift, like having the SmackDown deal cut with another network, or do you think USA, frankly, just has like another big show that they're looking to make time for?
I think that's definitely a possibility. I think USA could be wanting to consolidate what they do have of wrestling, of WWE anyway, because they're losing SmackDown. But I mean, so from a broadcasting standpoint, this is one of the things I just learned like 3-4 months ago, was like that, when you're trying to hit times on broadcast, there's one reason that you hit your times perfectly for all of your segments that you have scheduled out, scripted out. The reason why you time them out before you put them on the air is because if you don't hit the right times, your advertisements won't have the right time slots to play. And it's what keeps the network going is money, and advertising is the biggest way that networks keep money. Unless you're like a public broadcast station, then you just get paid by the government. But I mean, everything is all about those advertising slots. So if you ever notice a commercial gets cut off by the USA Network so they can get back to whatever's on, or so they can get to the next ad, it's because somebody didn't hit their times right. And if they're getting told by the network that they need to hit their times better, then they're doing a really bad job of it. Because you can get it like on network television, it's a little different than cable television, where you can get a little bit more leeway. You don't have the strict requirements that some of the FCC stuff on some of the cable networks is. But you still have to make sure that you're hitting your times, because you need to be able to keep your network going with advertisements. So if a show is starting to lose you money because it's taking too long in its segments, it's gonna get, you're gonna hear something about it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's on their broadcast team. Their truck is not doing a very good job.
True. Yeah. So some other stuff. News broke right before SmackDown, right before SmackDown this week, and we'll talk about this more. That Becky Lynch suffered an injury. So we're gonna start with our best segments of the week. I'll go first because I think we're gonna talk about this a lot. So we had an invasion angle from SmackDown to Raw. We knew this was going to happen, right? We knew SmackDown was probably going to invade Raw. Raw was going to invade SmackDown. That was probably the original plan. This was a women's invasion, which was kind of nice, kind of refreshing. So Alexa Bliss came out. Oh, great, the thing's going to talk. Alexa Bliss came out and announced the Raw team, which we'll talk about maybe a little bit, maybe not. But then they got interrupted by Becky Lynch coming out. Becky Lynch said she was ready to fight the Raw roster 1v7, which I like, showing some guts. And then the rest of the SmackDown women came out, and one of the people out there was Charlotte Flair, who hasn't been around talking about any of the Survivor Series stuff. But she showed up, and Becky Lynch ended up getting punched right in the face by Nia Jax. Not a worked punch, a legit just fist right to the face, just to the left of her nose. And a lot of guys thought that she had a broken nose. She had what WWE is calling a broken face and a concussion, and she's out for Survivor Series. So, Charlie, I'll throw it to you first. What did you think of? And I loved the invasion. I thought it was great. What do you think of the invasion angle and Nia Jax's heat that's been reported she has backstage on not being safe with Becky?
Yeah, I think the invasion was perfectly done. Definitely. It was one of those where when Becky was backstage and you heard Ronda screaming, I thought that was just so nice. And it got Becky over even more. She's the biggest woman in the women's wrestler in the entire world right now. Like in terms of just popularity and everything, just because the character's on fire. And yeah. And damn it, that threw me off. But yeah, Nia throwing the punch. I mean, Zelina Vega got back Tuesday from Nia Jax hurting her at Evolution. I mean, I don't know. I think anyone that wasn't The Rock's cousin would be punished severely by this. And I mean, even when she dropped Charlotte on her head, we never heard anything about it. So
it is kind of weird. And Garrett, this actually ended up leading to Becky Lynch when she went to go pick her replacement for Survivor Series. She picked Charlotte Flair, which I also thought was a good segment. A lot of people were like, well, why are they hugging it out? But it's kind of one of those deals. Like Becky Lynch, she just wanted to beat Charlotte, and she did. And if we're leading to a horsewoman versus horsewoman match, like a lot of people think we are, then this kind of needed to happen. So what do you think? Do you think they're going to just roll with Charlotte and Becky both as faces now, Garrett? Or do you think that this will be Becky right back as a heel as soon as she's back?
Well, I guess it depends on how they want to play it. But if I had to guess, I'd say they did this because they don't want to have to deal with her getting a big pop, coming back, and then doing what a couple of other people have done to the ire of the universe, which was come back and immediately you change back over to a heel and everyone boos and they're not happy with it because they gave you they're like, oh my gosh, you're back, and then you're like, nope, I hate you still, and you're like, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah, what was Seth Rollins? Yeah, I got all the letters you guys sent to me in the hospital, and I threw them in the garbage.
Right, like I was like, well, that was wasted because that he could have been. Imagine if that had been when he did his face turn right then. Things could be so different, but that would be a completely different landscape. But yeah, I mean, like, actually, I think in that landscape, he would have beat Finn Balor. We may not have even had Finn Balor.
Yeah, no, it's true. And Charlie, I was talking to Garrett about this before we went live, but I want to get your opinion on it. Becky Lynch was probably going to lose to Ronda Rousey, right? And Charlotte's probably losing to Ronda Rousey, probably in 5 minutes, probably about the same match planned, because there's no way they can derail Rousey right now. They're trying to build the whole company around that woman right now. Could this be the best thing in the long term for Becky? I mean, she gave the line to Charlotte, go tap her out just like I would have. Does this build up more excitement for a Becky Rousey fight down the line?
Yeah, I think this almost might have flipped the roles. I think my guess is it probably would have been about 15-minute match. It might have main evented. I mean, I'm sure we'll get that report.
I think it was going to main event. I mean, that's if they're doing the invasion angle with the women.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll find out if that was the plan. I mean, it might still. But yeah, I think it's going to be a roles reverse now. I think the original plan was, Ronda wins, and then you have Charlotte face her at Mania, right? Maybe it's now you have Ronda win here, and you have Becky face her at Mania. So,
yeah,
I'm down with it. I think it makes a bigger program in the long run. Where if this has been their plan the whole time to have women main event WrestleMania 35, I mean, this Becky Ronda and a good build up with a Rumble win and everything. I mean, it could be seriously good. So,
Garrett, what did you like this week?
So, let me think about this for a second. I don't even remember what I had. Let me look at this. Was it? Well, I feel like there was just so much. Like, we always have this problem with go home shows, right? Like, it ends up being a lot of stuff that we didn't necessarily need. Oh, I remember now. Sorry about that. I had to jog my own memory really quickly. So there was a match between one Fergal Devitt and Dolphin Zigzag. So they had a match, and it was a good match. And beforehand, Drew McIntyre cut a weird, but I think good promo. It was weird though.
I liked it.
He kind of like semi-insulted Ziggler, and Ziggler I don't think was expecting it to come off the way that it did, and so he just played it so well.
He's like, oh, I mean, yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, I guess.
They've seamlessly gone from Dolph Ziggler being there with being the leader with Drew McIntyre as the brute muscle, and completely flipped it, and I didn't even realize it was happening until.
Yeah. No, 100% agree with that. It was like seamless, really.
And it wasn't an immediate flip either. It was like, oh, when did Drew McIntyre become the guy?
Yeah, for real.
But now I like that too. Charlie, what'd you like?
There's a lot of good stuff. But I'm gonna pick something a little different. I thought so when Paul Heyman came out with Brock, I'm like, here we go, just another thing. It's gonna be a ramble. Here we go. And it started out like that a bit. But then Jinder comes out. And like this, when Brock is having fun, it's fun to watch. Does that make sense? It's fun for us when Brock's having fun. And when Jinder's like, you need to chill out and, whatever he was saying, meditate or whatever it was. And Paul's like, hey, no need for that. And Brock's like, you know what? Come in the ring. I want to try this. And when Brock's like, and then he looks at Paul, and he looks back. He looks back at him, and he's like, yep. And he beats the crap out of him. And him throwing the Singh brothers is all we wanted to see last year if they would have had that match. So he dropped one of them right on their head, too.
Credit to Alex Pulowski of Fightful. He said what he wants to see at Survivor Series is a backstage segment with Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton. Because the last time that they fought each other, Brock Lesnar came out and split Randy Orton's head open and left him in a bloody heap in the middle of the ring, where they just kind of run into each other backstage. They're like about to fight, and then they bond over their shared love of tossing the Singh brothers and killing them.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I also thought the Uso thing was pretty good. I want to give a little shout out to that. I thought the Usos have their certain like promo, you know how it is, and they brought that back. So I thought that was nice.
Lockdown.
I was kind of hoping. Is it just me, or would them being like unifying the SmackDown tag team division in spite of everything else being in chaos on SmackDown because of what Shane McMahon did? Like if they had taken one or two members from each of the teams or something like that and made their Survivor Series teams, like that'd be ridiculous, but it'd be awesome. Instead of having a bunch of tag teams on one team, having like a couple of members from this team and that team.
Instead of a 10v10. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That would be interesting. So and then you have like one team on Raw of all teams that are disconnected, and that could be where SmackDown wins is in the tags or something like that. You know what I mean? Because obviously they're probably going to win the women's. I mean, so if you want to give the SmackDown the win this year because you're giving Raw the win the last couple of years, you know what I mean? Like, and then Raw can still walk away. If you give them both of those wins, Raw can still walk away with the main event, and it doesn't hurt Raw.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not the main event, whatever the men's match. They can walk away with that.
Charade getting on the top floor in the high rank district. Here he goes, crossing himself. Oh!
Dude, I love hearing oh my god.
It's just a guy that's like, oh my god, he's dead. Literally,
he's dead.
So anyway, Garrett, what was something that you were not enjoying? You were crossing yourself for it, and it just did not pan out for you.
So we were watching this episode of Raw this week. It was right after the opening segments where not much happened except that Ronda Rousey beat up another man. We had a match between two women, as match between two women, as PewDiePie would say.
All right.
And it was Ember Moon versus Tamina. And look, like the match itself isn't bad, especially if you're really trying to push this female Samoan team, which I guess is an indication of potentially maybe there being a tag team division. Probably not though, because whenever we want something, that never happens. So, but you have a huge pop when Ember Moon comes down the ramp. I mean, bigger than I was expecting. I was like, they like her, but they don't like her that much, you know?
It's like they want to root for her. I agree. I know what you mean.
And so I was just watching the segment being like, if Ember gets the win here, I mean, it's not going to hurt this team because literally nothing can hurt this team because I mean, I hate to say this, but if you're Samoan, it's hard to lose credibility, especially if you have a decent build up at the beginning. Like, so, I just think this was boring and it didn't really offer anything to the show, and it just took Ember Moon down a peg she didn't need to go back down. She should be beating the monstrous characters. She shouldn't be losing to them. So
I don't need to see Tamina wrestle ever.
No,
I don't.
No.
Charlie, what did you not like?
So that Raw tag division is so bad. When you got all 10 of those guys out there, it looks terrible.
I was waiting to touch on it for the predictions.
Oh my God.
About it.
Dude, they had to throw together Bobby Roode and Chad Gate. Like, I don't know if it can look worse than that. Like, just on paper, none of these guys are over. And they might have been once, but they're not right now. And that's what matters is right now. And as a unit, all 10 of those guys look, oh, that's going to be rough.
Their entire division got destroyed by one man.
Yeah, and then, dude, they brought him out again. I couldn't believe it. I was in disbelief when they brought him all out again. But yeah, we'll get into predictions, but wow, is that something?
We're hoping for a clean sweep is what you're saying.
I think they could use some undisputed over there, you know what I'm saying?
I could agree with that, good brother.
Big facts.
So, the thing that I did not like this week. Now, it's not that I hated this match per se, but we had a main event on SmackDown. The news broke right before SmackDown went live that the title was going to be changing hands, that AJ Styles, after 371 days, was going to be dropping the title to Daniel Bryan. I was like, you know what? That's pretty cool. To me, that screams WWE didn't see AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar as a headliner for the pay-per-view, since they already did that as the headliner last year. So they wanted it to be Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, and so they needed to pull an audible, and they needed to give the title to Daniel Bryan. I'm cool with it. However, this match lasted about 15 minutes, and 8 of the 15 minutes were commercials. There were 8 minutes of commercials in this match. When you have someone hold the title for over a year, just over a year, I think that you have to give the respect to AJ Styles. He's carried your brand for so long. And you know that those people in the crowd, because even if the match was great and they didn't slow down and do rest holds, that means that the live crowd got to see a great match, and that it's either the live crowd saw a great match or they had to see a bunch of rest holds, which is like, I don't know, just put it on TV. Let them go balls to the wall for 15 minutes. Go nuts. Have a good time. But I want to talk a little bit about this match because it was a very crazy, I thought, awesome outcome. Yeah. Charlie, first of all, what do you think about Daniel Bryan turning heel?
Yeah, so I think how all this came about, I feel like they put themselves AJ had no one to face, and I think maybe they wanted him to lose it at some point. Maybe it was Crown Jewel. Maybe that was, hey. Or maybe they just didn't know what to do next. But you know what I'm glad they didn't do? I'm glad they didn't hotshot this title on Randy Orton randomly. Tell me that doesn't seem like the thing they probably would have done. He's the big heel right now, so it's like, whoa.
They could have thrown it on Big Show.
Exactly. So,
well, it's a bad show.
I'm definitely sad to see him lose the title because he's been great with it. I think he's elevated people that he's feuded with. But I mean, a heel Daniel Bryan against that was the problem with their feud. They didn't really have any heat with it, so now they do. And I think maybe the only way to get that heat was to move the title like they did. So,
and the real question is, Garrett, we did not see this coming. We've wanted the Daniel Bryan versus The Miz blood feud. And in that feud, when they were facing before, Daniel Bryan was absolutely way more of the dick. people that were watching the show and actually just listening to what they're saying and how they were saying it, Daniel Bryan not respecting The Miz, calling him a coward, all of these things, that's heel stuff. Is there a chance, Garrett, that we see The Miz go over at Royal Rumble and we see a face Miz versus a super heel Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania?
I think there's a chance. I think, look, here's the thing is like Miz has done face runs, or specifically I remember one that was pretty decent. And every time he's been in a tag team, it's always been pretty much a face reaction. So, I mean, it's a possibility. It just depends on whether he wants to continue to be a heel or not, because I assume he has got some creative control at this point. I mean, the guy just got another movie made. I like that he's like proud of the fact that it went straight to DVD. That's amazing. Or straight to Blu-ray, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I mean, it's nice to know that WWE can go multiple directions with this, right? Like, usually it's like, oh, God, I hope WWE isn't screw this up. You know, when we're talking about Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre, how they should be in a title feud with each other right now, the fact that they're not is kind of a buzzkill. But with this, they could have Daniel Bryan just run train on people. The only way they can screw this up is if Daniel Bryan is all of a sudden a face next week.
Yeah,
dude, McIntyre versus Strowman is the meat case slobber knocker.
I mean, Daniel Bryan, what's he going to do? Work as a face against Lesnar? I guess he kind of has to.
Yeah, see, that's where I think maybe if they moved it after Survivor Series would have made more sense, but
yeah,
who knows? Who knows there?
I agree. All right, let's get into some let's go outside of wrestling real quick, and then we'll get to our War Games and Survivor Series predictions. Something outside of wrestling, you guys didn't even know we were talking about this, but I know this is something that both of you guys could probably talk for. We could have a whole hour podcast on this. Stan Lee died the other day.
True.
True, just wonderful human being, the creator, Marvel Comics, the Godfather. I know both of you guys have seen probably all the Marvel movies. I know Charlie has. Garrett, I know we've talked about it in depth. So you've probably seen at least most of them, and so have I.
I've seen all of the Marvel movies, save Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I've read most of the major Marvel comic lines.
I mean, just putting it out there, man. Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, Avengers, Iron Man 3.
It's 19, I can tell you. It's 19.
Like, so many. Like Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man Homecoming, Black Panther, just so many fantastic movies. And you know, it's not even about the movies. It's about the comics. It's about the actual creation of these characters. I mean, he was what, like 93?
95.
95. I mean, let's be honest. It was a contest between him or Betty White on who could last the longest. Right.
No, I mean, like, and if I don't know if you remember hearing about this, but like, I feel like a couple of years back, like 5-6 years ago or something like that, there was like a fake story about him dying from some hoax website.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and everyone, even then, we were like, well, I guess, yeah, you know, because think about it, the guy was born in the 1920s, I think, like, so like, he went through every major event of the last century. You know what I mean? Like.
Isn't that crazy? He literally was born almost. He was alive for the entire Red Sox World Series drought.
Yeah,
that went from 1918 to 2004, and he lived it.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, rest in peace, Stan Lee. Go watch some movies.
Do you guys have a favorite comic character? Like Marvel Comics character?
I mean, and it's not even just because of recency bias, but I always really liked Venom.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Of course, the comic Venom is way different than the movie Venom. At some point, Venom has to be the foil to Spider-Man, but we'll see. We'll see if they're actually going to integrate it.
Universal, is it Universal? Whichever it's Sony, whichever one of them it is, whichever one of them owns that is talking about potentially casting their own Spider-Man. So that would be very interesting.
Right, because that was the first movie of the new Spider-Verse. So whatever, we'll see. There's a bunch of crazy stuff.
You got a favorite character, Charlie?
I'm Spider-Man. I'm a simple guy.
I'm personally a fan.
Ever since I was a kid, Brady knows well. I've always Spider-Man's been my thing.
There's a lot of really cool Spider-Man comics. My favorite is probably the Superior Spider-Man line because it really tests the fans a little bit. But then my favorite character ever since the movie came out, and I was already a fan of a lot of comic book characters because I'd followed the X-Men franchise since it started back way in the back forever ago. You know, and so I was a huge X-Men fan, and then Iron Man came out of nowhere, and I was like, that's awesome. And Robert Downey Jr. is amazing as Iron Man. So
Iron Man's a fun watch. It's fun to just
I mean, and they did a great job. I don't know Stan Lee. I'm sure he does play a hand in casting all the main actors and stuff.
Oh, he's made a cameo in every major comic book Marvel movie. I think he even made a comic book cameo in like Teen Titans Go to the Movies or something like that, which is a DC property. Like
there is a rumor that I've seen flying around that he already filmed his cameo for the next and possibly last Avengers movie. So
now, based on filming dates for that movie, absolutely could be in a couple of movies right now. He could have still probably made Captain Marvel because that's been in production for a couple of years. The thing about those scenes is they literally could be filmed anytime as long as they don't. Like the only one that's the example that I would think wouldn't have been able to have been done would maybe be the one at the start of Infinity War. Spoilers, you know, but like that one is like just because of the way you have to film it. But like other than that, they could literally slot it in there. I would be shocked if they hadn't recorded a couple just in case. You know what I mean? Like.
Is there any way that they filmed the spoiler alert? If you don't want to, you know, get spoilers, skip 20 seconds in the video.
Yeah.
Is there any way that they find a way to get Thanos to snap his fingers and make him disappear?
I mean, there's absolutely the possibility as long as they have, and this is going to sound pretty morbid, the CGI asset of him that they could make. Like, you know how they did for Star Wars, the Rogue One?
That would be the way that Stan Lee would want to fucking go, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, no,
they could be showing like all the civilians disappearing, and he could be one of them.
Or even more, it could just be as simple as he's been around in the universe since Iron Man, which is like at least 5-10 years in actual universe timeline at this point. He could just have a grave somewhere, you know what I mean, in the universe. Like that would be pretty morbid.
That'd be really cool. That would be really cool, man, if he faded off.
Oh yeah, no.
All right, anyway.
Absolutely.
Let's get back into it. Let's talk some predictions, boys. Obviously don't have an Excel sheet.
Hello?
Your camera came back.
What is going on?
I don't know. Brady?
We see you now. We see you.
Hello? Hello?
Sir?
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hello?
It looked
guys?
like Brady had like a flash almost.
Hello?
Okay, hold on. Let me pull up the card.
Yeah, for real.
All right.
I think we'll all be pretty even on some of these because
I'm sure.
it's kind of the way it is sometimes.
Ready, but
Can you hear us?
yes, I can.
Okay. Do you have the card pulled up? Because I was about to pull it up.
Yes, my internet is being really slow, which is odd because normally like that's not me.
Someone talk for a second. I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna run down the WarGames card, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So let's make sure we go backwards here because that'd be lame. We're not. All right. So we've got the WarGames match: Undisputed Era versus War Raiders versus Ricochet and Pete Dunne. I'm ready for that.
Yes.
We've got the NXT Championship: Tommaso Ciampa versus Velveteen Dream as the co-main event.
Yes.
Shayna Baszler versus Kairi Sane, best 2 out of 3 falls.
Yes.
And then Johnny Gargano versus Aleister Black.
Yes. They get the nod of approval from me. Yes.
I agree. All those. Meanwhile, Survivor Series, we're going to kick off with Chad Gable, The Revival, B-Team, Lucha House Party, and The Ascension versus The Usos, New Day, Sanity, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, and the Colognes.
What was that match? That sounded like a mix of NXT and main roster stuff.
You know what, man? If just saying, Lucha House Party and the Colognes are on one pay-per-view, and then the other one is being the worst match is Gargano and Aleister Black. So
that's crazy. All right, let's get these.
Let's run down. All right, Johnny Gargano versus Aleister Black. Garrett, kick us off. Who's winning that match?
Is this non-title?
Non-title.
Okay, so.
And remember, this is a Johnny Gargano who has snapped to heel.
Yeah, this
Johnny
is
Gargano.
heel Gargano. I know that much. I'm going to say heel Gargano gets the rub. I don't know if it's clean or not. But it's he gets
Kill Johnny.
I'm down.
Here's Johnny.
I will agree with you guys. Aleister Black is coming back after an injury, so he's got to get a little bit of heat back on him. But I think Gargano definitely wins that match. We've got the NXT, or actually, you know what? I'm going to say Johnny Gargano keeps falling down into the pit of misery, loses.
Rip.
Just to be contrarian. The NXT Women's Championship, Shayna Baszler defending the title against Kairi Sane in a best 2 out of 3 falls match. Kairi Sane sucks, so Shayna Baszler's retaining. Charlie.
I mean, Kairi Sane's top 5, but Shayna is winning.
Yeah, see, exactly. If you thought that Kairi was good, you'd pick her. Yeah, exactly. Garrett, who's winning?
Baszler.
Baszler's
I don't have any particular reasoning why, but you know.
NXT Championship match. Tommaso Ciampa is defending his title against Velveteen Dream. Garrett?
Dream.
Wouldn't that be awesome? I'm going to take Ciampa in this one. I'll let Charlie break the tie. I just think Dream is there. He's like 25 years old. He's ready to go. I just don't think he's ready to carry the brand on his shoulders yet. But I think this is they really want to gauge how good Velveteen Dream can be. And I think this is a put up or shut up type of match. Charlie?
Yeah, I think this is very either or. It's a total NXT thing to throw that belt on Dream. And I think they're going to do it. I think it's going to be Dream.
Wow. Man, that would be so cool.
I really think they know how over this guy is. Like, he's special. Ciampa is the biggest heel right now in NXT, but Dream's special. So I think...
I mean, you know what's going to happen, right?
What's that?
The reason I picked the first match the way I did with Aleister Black beating Gargano, he's finally snapped, and he's gonna bow down to his master and help Ciampa retain this title.
Ooh, wouldn't that be something?
That would be something.
Yep. And then we have the main event: Undisputed Era versus War Raiders versus Ricochet and Pete Dunne for the tag titles. I guess I'll go first. For no other reason other than it's honestly just a gut feeling. I think I'm going to take War Raiders. I think NXT kind of likes it. I think they're a good team to chase, even though I think Undisputed Era you kind of have to ride the wave, but who knows? Charlie?
Yeah, I think Undisputed walks out of this. And then I think it's going to be awesome, though. It's going to be fun. But I think they're building Undisputed Era as like this group that's just unstoppable, really.
Garrett?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Charlie. I think the team that takes out Undisputed, it's not going to be because of a stipulation. It's going to be because they're the next wave of what an NXT tag is going to be. I don't think it's going to be just randomly, although you never know. Somebody in this match could be that, but we just don't know yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, going over to Survivor Series, boys. Kickoff show. 5-on-5 tag team elimination match. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, the Revival, the B Team, Lucha House Party, and the Ascension facing the Usos, New Day, Sanity, Good Brothers, and Colons.
God, that SmackDown team is 1,000 years better, and that's why I'm picking them.
I think SmackDown, I think the Colons should get eliminated right off. I think that I would like to see the Revival come out, get a real quick pin on the Colognes, and then the rest of the SmackDown just wipe the house with Raw. I'm taking SmackDown.
Yeah, SmackDown.
WWE Cruiserweight title match, currently listed on the regular show, but it might end up being kicked off as well. Who knows? Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali. Buddy Murphy is the current champion. He hasn't been champion for long, so I'm taking Buddy Murphy to retain. Garrett?
Same.
Charlie?
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun match. Yeah, I'm thinking Buddy.
Hey, just saying, I weighed in a couple days ago, boys, at 207.5. Charlie and Rick said I'm ready for 205 live.
Dude, shave off those extra few. Or just have them lie.
Lose a pound.
There you go.
All right. I'll save that till after. Authors of Pain, AOP versus the SmackDown Tag Champions, The Bar. I don't know. For whatever reason, I think SmackDown has to win this one just because they like to even split it. So I'm going to take SmackDown. I'm going to take the Bar because I don't think they care about AOP too much, but hopefully AOP builds some steam. Charlie?
Yeah, I think the Bar or AOP's winning this one.
Any reason in particular, or just that's what you're feeling?
They're so much better than all the other teams on Raw. I think that they have to. I
could feel that. Garrett?
Yeah, I think AOP needs a win to solidify themselves as champions, period. Because the only thing they have is that they were given a 2-on-1 title match.
That Raw, how did we get here? That's all I'm wondering. How did we get here?
I agree.
A year ago, we were like, oh my gosh, AOP.
And then
here we go.
We've got the WWE Intercontinental Champion Seth Rollins versus the WWE United States Champion Shinsuke Nakamura. Garrett?
I think Rollins is getting interfered with in this match, and he's losing. I think Nakamura.
Shinsuke Cock Nakamura. Here we go. Charlie?
I think same as kind of the reasoning with AOP winning. I think Nakamura needs this. And honestly, I see Dean doing something. Yeah, right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's no way.
Nakamura is the house show champion.
Right now, the best two storylines on TV are whatever Becky's doing and the Seth Dean stuff. So if they're not going to have Dean on this show, that's really missing their mark. I agree. It's got to be Shinsuke. He needs it. I totally forget that Shinsuke's even champion half the time.
And you know what's crazy? He's been champion for 4 months. It does not feel like that at all, does it?
0 title defenses, I think.
No, he's defended it. It's been against like R-Truth and shit.
We have and once again, very we talked about the SmackDown tag match being very one-sided. We have the team of Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, and Bobby Lashley facing The Miz, Shane McMahon, Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, and Jeff Hardy. If Raw does not win this, I lose all faith in humanity, especially since SmackDown has won this match 2 years running. Garrett?
Yeah, this is a Raw win. I mean, here's the thing with these matches is like, it used to mean something to be the sole survivor in the men's main event. It used to like almost guarantee you a title shot at the next major pay-per-view. So like, this ultimately means nothing now because sole survivors don't go on to any greater thing now. So I don't even really care, to be honest with you.
I wish they would get rid of the stipulation. I was thinking about this the other day. I wish they'd get rid of the stipulation that if you win the Royal Rumble, you get to main event WrestleMania. I think that you should get a title shot at WrestleMania. But I really wish it's like how all of the All-Star games, like Pro Bowl, NHL All-Star game, they all mean nothing except for baseball now in the major sports. Because baseball, if your conference wins, is that what it is? It's not conferences, baseball. League. If your league, American League or National League, wins, then you get home field advantage home in the World Series if it comes to a Game 7. I think it would be great if the winner of one of the matches, either men's, women's, or tag, they can switch it every year. They decide which one of the matches is going to determine who gets the main event match at Mania, which world title gets the main event match. I think that would be very interesting.
You could even throw something in there like they get the first pick at Royal Rumble numbers or something like that.
Yeah, do something cool. Like automatically.
Make this pay-per-view matter.
Yeah, automatically one of the members of the losing team has to be entered number 1.
Right.
There's so many things you could do with it.
Well, did you see what they did with the Mixed Match Challenge now? The winning team gets entrance 30 in both the Rumbles.
So that's awesome.
Whoa, that's a big deal. I might have to start watching Facebook Watch then.
So one of the final teams is Jeff Hardy and Charlotte. So they went 4-0. Well, AJ was replaced by Hardy. Just throw that out there.
Okay. Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair. I think Ronda wins this. Maybe not as quick as we would think, but I think Rousey wins this, no doubt. Charlie?
Yeah, Rousey.
Garrett?
Yeah, I think Ronda would have potentially had like a really big contender and maybe even have lost this match. I don't even know. But, like, you know, now that it's been shifted around because, you know, people get punched in the face and can't wrestle. So, like, you know, yeah, watch out for them big Samoans, man.
And then the final match, Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan, champion versus champion. Charlie, who you got?
I would have picked AJ, so I'm going to pick Daniel Bryan.
For what reason?
So it's weird because with AJ, I would have said this would have proven his title reign. But with Daniel Bryan, I almost feel like this is kind of the same thing. I think Brock's in a beatable state right now, as weird as that sounds, because he's fighting Daniel Cormier in March or not. Yeah. We don't know. But I think they don't mind having him lose this one. But with the change, I don't know. But something's telling me Daniel Bryan's winning this one way or another.
Garrett?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like they're just going to feed the SmackDown champion to Brock every year that he's champion at Survivor Series just because they're champions, so it doesn't really matter anyway. Champion versus champion matches historically mean nothing ultimately anyway because they're both champions. So what are you going to do, start a feud? They tried doing that a while back. What was it, like Rollins and Miz or something like that, had like a non-title champion versus champion feud before they even split the brands or something like that. Like, and I was like, what is the point of this? It was boring and it didn't mean anything and there was no titles on the line, so it didn't matter. And it was just like, well, what are we doing? You know?
I agree. And I think I'm actually going to side with Charlie on this one. I think Daniel Bryan's going to win for the main reason of now that Daniel Bryan is heel. Daniel Bryan can go back, but he doesn't have to be, you know, a chicken shit heel. He can go back to SmackDown and say, I did something that you couldn't do and you wouldn't have beat him either. And I think Daniel Bryan taps out Brock Lesnar and it's a big moment and he goes back and he's the cocky heel and it leads to him, you know, being chased. Hopefully. That's the plan. Then Brock can go lose the title to Drew McIntyre, am I right?
If the title defense at the Rumble is Brock and Drew and then the other one's AJ and Daniel, dude.
I'm 100% down.
This is some great title feuds. Better than The Rock, right?
Oh my god. Just stop. I wonder if those odds have gotten any better. Probably not.
Oh, the other team that's looking like they're going to go to the finale is Strowman and Ember Moon. So,
oh god, Strowman entrant 30.
Let me double check. I might be spewing some fake news here.
I heard some people saying that they thought Miz was going to win. He was going to win back to back.
Yep, he just lost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was to Hardy.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, it is Moon and Strowman. So, Ember Moon entrant 30? I'd be down with that. But Charlotte entrant 30, that sounds like a win.
It honestly does. Oh my god, you guys are doubled up.
It's showing that for me too.
That's me because I disconnected.
I got two Garretts. Oh Jesus. All right. Anyway, that's the end of the pod anyway. So anyway, make sure you guys like and subscribe. Click the bell so you know when we go live and tell us in the comments how stupid we were with our predictions and all that kind of stuff. If you don't type RIP Stan Lee or if you downvote this video, then you're obviously a Satan-loving,
not on my Christian Minecraft server.
Exactly. Go heck yourself. Later.
Whoa.